Okay, let's move on to something called as the core technical resume template, which is a generic template, which is kind of specific for specific genres. What I mean to say is, you have this generic template over here with certain sections, but it also you got to make it more specific based on your qualification and based on your expertise. One thing what I've written over here is your marketing pamphlet. So basically, your resume is your marketing pamphlet, which means whatever you write here is assumed to be true, right? What it means is, like, if at all you've written some skills, some qualifications, and projects what you have done, which will be considered as the hands-on work what you're capable of doing. Many a times, students or some experienced professionals as well, even though they know a few things, they just mention that, yeah, they have actually worked on it. But that's not the case. You got to be very, very careful with your words, what you're using, because that defines your pamphlet. Okay, this is where you use to market your skills. This is where you're going to publish all of your qualification, your skills in the job market. You got to be very careful with that. So if you see here, it's a very basic template over here. So you've got your resume and you write your mobile number and email ID. Especially generally, you have these students or youngsters who tend to use all kinds of weird email IDs, like writing 1234 or writing their college register email ID or their address or their nicknames and all. So keep in mind that this is a professional resume, right? You cannot use all nicknames and all sorts of fancy names. It's got to look a little bit professional when you're using a proper resume when you're applying for the jobs, because this is what defines you. This is what people identify you when they have to tap you, be it on LinkedIn or when somebody looks at it. So it's very important, even though you have your personal email IDs, whatever, but ensure you make a decent one when you're applying for jobs at least. Okay. So we've got different sections over here. There's summary, there's qualification, technical skills, projects, and references. So let's take one by one over here. I'll get into detail into the next slides, but briefly, if I have to tell you, your summary defines the overall gist of your resume, right? Whatever is written over here, it's the extract of that. So be it your qualifications, your achievements, your high-end skills, what you want to highlight, which should make you stand out of the crowd. There are hundreds and hundreds and lakhs together of resumes in the market over there, but you need to think something and write that will make you stand out. Your resume should pop up. It should have some content in it, a small brief, right? Which, when a recruiter or a HR has a look at it, they should get impressed, right? Say this particular section, summary, is mainly for the recruiters and HRs. Very rarely, as I mentioned before as well in the previous slide, very rarely you would find the recruiters or the HRs who will be having a detailed idea about the profile they are looking for. They mainly look for keywords. If a person is very well experienced, yes, or if they have shifted their domains and all, then yes, they would understand. But majority of the cases, they just look for keywords. So ensure whatever you write here is are the highlight points of your resume, right? We'll take a test case and explain what needs to be written over here. Qualification, obviously, it's pretty straightforward. Bachelor's, master's, diploma, whatever the qualification you have, and say, for example, if at all you're trained in something, mention that. And keep in mind that whenever you're writing your qualification, your the latest qualification should be on the top. Generally, people tend to write 10th, 12th, bachelor's, and master's. No, the latest one should be on the top. Okay, and you have to mention the year of passing, the college, and the percentage what you've got. That gives a brief idea about your academic score. Technical skills, so obviously this section defines whatever the skills you have learned, right? Whatever skills you have, what you can do for them, what you can do for your employer is what I mean, right? We'll talk about this in detail as well. Now, projects, yes, you have got to mention whatever the projects you have done, even in your, be it in your engineering, be it in your training courses what you have done, or be it your projects, actual job related ones, right? And references. Now, this generally is required. It depends on it. It all depends. Actually, it's not a must to have references, but generally for freshers and trained candidates, yes, they do tend to ask for references. Some places they do ask, some places they don't. But you can keep that as optional in case if you clear the interview and if you join a company, if they ask, then you can very well, give your contact information. Okay, so that's about your core technical resume template. We don't need much more details of what do you do, what do you play, what do you do, where you sing or you dance or whatever. No, you're here to apply for a job, right? Keep that in mind. You're here to apply for a job. Here you need to emphasize on your qualification, on your skills, and what you can do for the employer. Okay, that's very important there. Okay. So now the next important question here is, what does a recruiter or a HR look for? What do they look for in your resume? You are creating a resume and you're uploading it on LinkedIn or Naukri or Monster or any of your profiles, right? On your job portals. What exactly is the HR looking for, right? So here we come back to the same template over here. And just to get a little more deeper into what exactly these guys look for, it's mainly the summary section, right? And maybe some companies, yes, they will have criterias of looking for minimum bachelor degrees or minimum masters as a qualification, right? And they are not bothered about the projects or all the technical details what you're looking for, whatever you have done in your projects. The HR or the recruiter mainly focus on the summary section. So what do you write over here? Like basically you write first is your uh, say you are if you're an experienced person or if you're a professional, you write experienced so and so engineer, data analog design engineer or digital design engineer with so and so years of experience in semiconductor and EDA industry. Then if at all you've done masters, you write, yeah, masters in so and so from so and so college, right? And then if at all you have got some published some IEEE papers, right? You can write published IEEE paper, worked on so and so technology, have so many skills over here. So whatever the highlight you want to mention, the keywords is what you want to mention over here. So we'll talk about what are those keywords in the next slide. So the main keywords, main key points, highlighting points of your resume has to be over here. It shouldn't be that elaborate. Yes, based on experience or whatever, you may have done a lot of things, but you mentioned the topmost ones. Right. Now, coming to the students, the bachelors or the engineering students, not many of them know what to write over here. What did I do? I just did my graduation, I scored some marks, and that's it. But you got to sit and think even before you start preparing your resume. You need to spend proper quality time and list out what all have you done in your engineering. Mainly the lab sessions, mainly the skills. Like, have you worked on so and so microcontroller? Have you worked on C language? Or have you used such and such softwares and tools? What are you good at? What are the kind of designs you have done? What technology have they used in the college for you to do your lab sessions and all? So they may have asked you to learn some Perl scripting or scale scripting or something of value, which you are good at or which you are comfortable at, right? You need to mention those things. First thing is your qualification, your experience, your college, your achievements, and the hands-on skill. You got to mention clearly hands-on skill, hands-on expertise on so and so. Mentioning knowledge of so and so topic is not a skill. Reading something is not a skill. Keep that in mind. You can just read some articles and all, you might gain knowledge, but that's not a skill, right? Whatever you can mention here, the hands-on skill on so and so technology, on so and so tools, on so and so softwares, on so and so techniques, right? Knowledge, you can write it somewhere below. I mean, yes, obviously knowledge has value to it, but then what's more important, having knowledge, you'll not be able to execute the job unless you know how to do it, right? So you use the exact keywords over here, right? So you mentioned that, and obviously the qualifications, what you mentioned, and skills, you mentioned the right skills in the right section. It could be, say, software skills or programming skills or design related skills and in verification related skills. You got to bifurcate. Some people like putting tables, some people like, putting it in bullets. Do it whatever you prefer. I personally prefer to put a table and make it look neat and nice. So you have technical skills and non-technical skills as well. So even here, even in the summary section, you've basically mentioned the technical skills on the highlight. Now it depends on whether you're applying for a technical job or a non-technical job. If you are portraying yourself as a technical person, I would say you mention highlight the technical skills before, and last two or three points, written, verbal, and communication skills, interpersonal skills, or whatever your managerial skills, team leading skills, you can mention in the end. Even in here, technical skills and non-technical skills, yes, you can mention team leading or resource allocation, hiring, taking interviews, handling escalations, all that sort of things, which you have learned as a part of your job, you can mention over here. And for students, if they have to, yes, there are so many non-technical things what you would have done, organizing a project, organizing a particular event or something relating to your project related work which is non-technical, yes, you can very well mention that. And projects over here, you mention the name of the project, and you also need to mention the uh, you know what is your roles and responsibilities, what you have done over here, right? So majorly, all in all, what I'm trying to tell you over here is, here in this particular section, you should use as many keywords as possible, right? We'll talk about in detail about how to mention the projects, how to mention the skills over here. Main thing over here is in the summary section, you need to mention as many keywords as possible. Okay. So let's talk about the keywords and how to figure out what keywords. I've been talking about keywords, but what are those? How to figure out which keywords to put over here. Let's talk about it in the next session.